All right, we're doing Top Talkers, and my panel today, Melanie Adams from Bob FM's morning show, Cub and Company. The company is you. And
Company.
Yeah. Dean Roberts from the Team 1200, 580 CFRA, and anywhere else he wants to go. And we've got Kurt Studley, of course, from our fine
Good morning,
television
panel.
program.
Hi, Curtis.
All right.
Morning, panel.
Okay, we've talked about tipping before. This is an extreme case, and we'll go beyond this a little bit as well. There's a pizza delivery guy. He delivers $1,500 worth of pizza. Okay, 85 pizzas.
Yes.
And it was $1,500, and he was tipped $10. Took a picture, put it online, and people freaked out.
So he was happy about it, is that right?
Not so happy about it.
Yeah.
So the tipping is always this gray area, and people have very different definitions of it. What would you tip him on a $1,500?
Are you a tipper, Melanie Adams?
I am, because I used to be a waitress, and I was a terrible waitress. I didn't deserve any tips, but people always gave me
I
tips.
was a terrible waitress.
They gave me tips out of pity, so now I feel like I need to pass that on to people who do deserve tips.
Right.
So what would
but
you have tipped a $1,500 pizza order?
I mean, if I had the money to spend to buy $1,500 worth of pizza, I'm sure I could afford a $100 tip.
Okay.
And I think that's what I would do.
A $100 tip.
That's fair.
Yeah.
You say that's fair, but that's well below the 15%.
Yes, but it's pizza delivery. It's not.
different?
It's not a restaurant. It is a bit different.
Okay.
I don't think you are required under the the rules governing tipping.
Right.
To tip 15 to 20% on pizza
The
delivery.
tipping governing body doesn't
Yeah,
have anything
whatever,
to say
the
about it.
etiquette.
Yeah.
Because if you
Yeah, the
order
etiquette.
$40 in pizza, which is a normal order, I think, that's a $6 tip at 15%, right?
Right.
Oh, I'm doing that. Well, I'll give him 45, and depending on,
Okay.
I might give him 50 if I just have 50, right?
Really?
What about you?
Whoever come up with the 15 to 20%, that's what I'm always
I
in
think
the
it's
dark.
restaurant industry.
Is that what it was? That's what gets me. I'm always in the dark about tipping and who
Yeah.
comes up with these figures. How about this take? I sometimes think that establishments maybe should pay their employees a little bit more so the pressure isn't on you and I, the consumer,
Right.
to make sure that these people
I
are
guess
well taken
That's
care
a
of.
good point.
I guess a lot of people think that, tipping ensures that the person's going to bring it every time, but shouldn't an organization, as Dean is saying, expect their employees to bring it and be good at every single
Well,
service?
I think I kind of agree with Dean's theory here because ultimately, the wages are paid to servers, especially in restaurants and bars, based on a minimum wage and then tips, right?
Yeah, it's a below normal minimum wage they get, right? They get a below the actual minimum wage because it's expected they'll be making tips.
Yeah.
So should that be the rule, or should we abolish tipping?
I think they should get minimum wage. I think
Okay.
everyone should get at least minimum wage. And the tipping should be above. You know,
Okay.
if I go to a restaurant, I just assume I'm going to give the server a good tip.
Yeah.
And then as the meal progresses, that might change depending on the level of the service perhaps going down, the tip would get a little smaller.
This morning we were talking about this. Kurt brought up some non-traditional, at least what I consider non-traditional tip situations. What about the drive-through? I want to go through the panel here. Yes, no. Do you tip at the drive-through, Tim Hortons?
No, it
You
never
don't.
even occurred to me.
No.
Do you?
Not on your life.
You don't.
no.
Okay.
I wouldn't tip at the counter at Tim Hortons either.
Right.
I've
Why
seen
is that though? Why is that? And I'm just asking. Why is that different than going into a restaurant?
I don't know why it is. It would
Because believe me, they're probably getting minimum wage. At least
They
the
are
young
definitely
people,
getting
right?
minimum wage.
It's
You've
just
been
never
there?
even occurred to me right now to think to do that.
Yeah.
If I use cash and I have a couple of quarters left, I always tip.
Well, and that's the other problem. Don't you guys find this, that with the advent of cards for everything, debit cards and so on,
Yes.
you have less cash and you're less apt to tip in certain circumstances.
Yeah.
You don't do the math when you're adding up the bill on your card, right?
No.
Okay, here's the second thing that Kurt brought up this morning before the show, and this is kind of a pro tip, I'll be honest. You go to an all-inclusive resort, and Kurt, I want you to explain your MO.
You've been to all-inclusive, so have you, haven't you? You've not?
But if you do,
Okay, here's the deal on,
Here's what you do.
how you work it at all-inclusives. When you get there, the first morning, right, after you arrive, you leave a healthy tip for the people who are looking after your room, right? You leave a healthy tip because you're guaranteed to get top-of-the-line service, like maybe some extra drinks in your mini fridge, right?
Yep.
Maybe a little decoration with a towel and flowers on the bed, things like that. You're guaranteed. And then when you go to the bar for the first time, you've established where your favorite bar is on the resort, right? And then you tip a bartender, the main bartender, a big tip
Right.
And then you do nothing but nod at them all week.
Right. That's how you do it. I've heard people doing that. Would you have thought to tip your rooms, like the maid service of your room?
The only hotel I've ever stayed in smelled like the inside of a gas tank, so no, it never occurred to me.
Yeah.
Hey, Jeff,
That's the only hotel you've ever stayed in?
Well, that's sort of the pattern
Don't
with
ask.
my staying
What about the
practices,
tip
yeah.
that's included? Like I took
gratuity
I took
included?
an airline service in Florida, you know, from my condo to the airport, and I understood the guy. It was like $45. So I said, "Here's your 45." He goes, "No, it's actually 53." And I'm okay. He said, "Tipping. That's the tip."
Interesting.
okay,
Lots left.
I wonder who gets the gratuity included. I wonder where that goes.
Yeah, I always wonder that too. Does it go right to those employees? We're
I
out of
don't
time.
know.
Top Talkers again. Thank you to my panel. We'll be back in a moment on CTV Morning Live.